Chioma,
Yes.
give us a little background of where you grew up in Jamaica.
Okay, I grew up in rural Clarendon. So I was born in Manchester, but I spent most of my years in a small little community called Thompsontown. So it's between Gloucester and Thompsontown in Clarendon. So I went to school there. Yes.
So we're gonna dive right in since we're a little bit behind time. How many
Yes.
years are you involved in financial managing, advising services, advising? How many years?
So it has spanned around up to 9 years. I would have worked in the banking sector before, but I've been with Sagicor close to 9 years now.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Why did you get into that field of financial advising? What motivated you? I'm sure maybe back in the days, maybe you're good with coins and the dollar signs and calculating. I don't know,
Ooh.
but
So may I say, I think when I look back at my formative years, growing up in Clarendon, I was sent to the market with my aunt from a tender age. And I had the opportunity of reflecting. And during that reflection, I realized that at that tender age, I was actually being trained. Yes, persons would look at it and say, okay, as a child going to the market, but I was able to look at it from a positive standpoint to say, at that age I was selling produce, but I was confident doing it, and I enjoy engaging with people. And now that I'm in as a financial advisor, I am able to engage with such a diverse clientele. I'm able to change the lives of so many families. And so when I was introduced, I actually went to Sagicor with my dad because he had an insurance plan at the time, which I didn't know about. And so when I went there, learning about, seeing what was happening, I really had an interest because I saw where I could make a difference. So
wow.
that's how I became a financial advisor.
And
I
for
was able to be the rookie for the company within a few months of joining. And from there, I've been doing the best I can, for my fellow citizens.
Oh, nice, nice,
Thank
nice.
you.
So it goes all the way back. Your dad influenced you into getting
Yes.
into that field. So
Yes.
for those of us who are unfamiliar with the role of a financial advisor, just walk us through what's your day-to-day job like
So,
as a financial advisor?
a financial advisor pretty much is that professional that you would sit with to help you to actually tailor or to help you to get through to that financial goal that you were planning. So that's pretty much just as how you would get an accountant, or go to the doctor because you're ill, you go to a financial advisor to get the best advice in terms of your financial planning and financial goals. So pretty much that's what my day-to-day life is like.
That's great. It must be exciting knowing that you get to meet people from all walks of life and different personalities and um,
Yes. The thing about it is that you have to really love what you do. You have to love, care for the people that you serve. Because if you don't love it, trust me, I really believe anything that you're doing, if you don't put 100% in it and love what you do, you will not necessarily, be able to be the
be your
best you
best
can
self.
at it. And I find that the more you can connect with persons, you can see them from their standpoint, help them towards the goals that they're working towards. You're not able to really do the job the way it's supposed to be done. In particular, I just love knowing that I'm able to change a life. For me, that's what gives me joy. The fact that I can look at a family and realize, okay, these are the things that we had worked on, see a young professional starting out and seeing them grow in their profession, see them grow in whatever goals that they're actually working on, is it's very fulfilling for me. And
Now
that's
that
what
you
keeps me going.
that's awesome. Now that you mentioned that you like to see people grow and to help them to flourish wherever that they are in life. Um, I know that brings that level of excitement for you. But tell us, what other projects have you worked on? Are you active in the community? What are some of those projects that you have worked on as a financial advisor?
All right. So, as a financial advisor, I am actually, I do so much more outside of my job. I serve in the community. I am currently a member of the Optimist Club, which is an international club. So I'm a part of the Optimist Club of Mandeville. I I'm a part of the Jamaica Insurance Association, which is JIFA. I was the central chapter chair. I would have sit on the board nationally as well. I am also a part of the $1 million Round Table, which is pretty much uh, the top 5% in the world. So generally on an annual basis, they do have conferences where we all meet up. And so outside of that, on a personal note, I've over the past 3 years, I've engaged on a feeding program where I do embark on that in December where we feed the homeless, persons on the street. Last year we were able to do close to 60 lunches for those who are living in the Mandeville or on the street in the Manchester area. The year before we were able to do Clarendon and Manchester. I'm hoping this year I can spread my wings a little wider by including St. Elizabeth. So those are
Wow.
some of the things that I do in a nutshell.
But which is your favorite project?
My favorite project, to be honest, is the street feeding project. In Up to Miss International is my baby, yes. But for that street feeding project, when I'm able to interact with persons living on the street and the things that they will say to me, it touched me very, very deeply, you know? And it makes me feel so blessed to know that I can stretch my hands to those who are in need and not really feel pity on myself from time to time. Because sometimes we feel like we are not growing, we are not doing anything until you meet someone who is much more in a
That's
less fortunate situation than you are. And so I'm grateful for that.
that's right. Diana says it's awesome to give back. Donna says awesome job.
Thank
And
you.
there's someone else says Tanya Grant says impressive,
Oh,
impressive.
thank you. Thank you.
So let's dive into the financial advising area of it. Like, how can we create that safe space to talk about financial health or financial independence? What are some of the steps that we need to put in place in order to start having those tough conversations?
Can I say, from an individual perspective, it's very important within the family to start having those open conversation. I find that culturally in Jamaica, financial planning, insurance, things to that nature. Whenever it is being spoken about, people tend to shun from it because all they think about, especially with insurance, all they think about is debt. So I really think that we have to first start with the mindset, start changing the mindset, how it is that we think about these things. From a family perspective, have those one-on-one meetings where you're able to speak openly about these things. In terms of financial planning, though, you first will need to be honest and open. Many times we
That's true.
don't where we're able to say, this is where I'm at financially, and this is where I would like to be. So when you're honest with yourself, you can actually start the planning process. And so that is one of the first things that I would say to persons. If it is that you're working, you would definitely need to start putting on paper or on our gadgets how much is it that we're earning, right?
That's
What
true.
are we using that money to do? Whenever you can see it, you're more able to make more conscious decisions as to what it is that you can change. How is it that you can tighten up? If it is that you want to be saving a certain amount of money, what are some of the goals that you plan to put in place to get there? And learn to, and also it's important for us to be accountable to, or to get some accountability partner to help us along the way. So those are some of the steps that you definitely first have to start with a mindset change. We have to go there,
Okay. So
right?
first of all,
Yes.
so just to recap what you said before. So first of all, we need to educate ourselves and be
Yes.
honest and be open-minded.
Yes. So even with educating ourselves, right? Um, it's important that we try to read those articles. Sometimes, most times in our local paper, there's always a business page, or in terms of our different associations, whether it be a banking association, or they do have literatures. In Jamaica, you do have the Financial Commission, the FSC, where you can go there for information. BOJ provides that too. We do have even our local libraries for those persons who do go to their libraries. You do have literatures. Currently, I'm in the process of rereading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So there are different avenues. There are also some credible vloggers too who do provide from time to time daily insights as well. But for sure, we do have institutions. For instance, Sagicor is one of them where you can come into or speak to an advisor. We're able to provide you with literatures on the different products and services that we offer. Don't sit around and listen to hearsay, because many times even in insurance industry you find that you'll engage in conversations with persons, right? And you'll hear them say, oh, but I was told that I could not get this, or I could not be insured. Who told you so? Did you go to the institution? Did you find out? Because another thing too, where financial planning is concerned, you can do your research. You can actually shop around and see what is best for you. In the long run, creating a proper portfolio is something that you have to pretty much you pretty much have to tailor it to your specific needs, because what may work for me may not be what is suitable for you. And so that is why it's very important to sit with someone who you can trust. You can trust enough to share, or be very open with them, because that's the only way they can really provide you with the information, the products and services that will be best for you. It's pretty much, I find, tailoring the products works better, right?
I know that in individuals on this live might be asking that is there a cost associated with coming in the branch to see you and to go through
No,
just the finances part of it? Is there a
no.
fee?
For
Okay.
me, I provide free consultation. So we sit and we have open discussions. Even if you have products with other institutions, we will go through those to see what is it that your gaps are, and to actually be able, as again I told you, to cater to your specific and individual needs. So those are the things we do.
one other question is, have you ever worked with any international clients? Do you have any clients overseas that you currently work with?
So I do have clients overseas. I do have clients who would have moved here from Jamaica all the way to Dubai. I have clients in England. I have clients in the US, Canada, just to name a few. So yes, I do have persons who will reach out to me and we will have conversations.
Should one party be responsible for all the finances?
Um, I okay, this is what I have to say. When it comes on to the finances, right, as a couple, we're talking about couples now. I believe that it's something that you should be open with, have those conversations, because from time to time in a relationship, you may find that one partner is a bit better at handling certain issues in terms of finances,
That's
right? And so
true.
you want to give the stronger person more or less, that you want to give the stronger person that opportunity to utilize their skill set, because we all in our relationships, we all know what we are better capable of doing. However, we should not take for granted though that even though say Obi is in charge of finance, it doesn't mean that you should not be having those open discussions, those meetings, trying to be able to let everyone know what is happening. So, because in the event, as you mentioned before, of any eventualities, then you will
Yes,
know exactly how to maneuver. I have seen where couples, business people, they one partner die or one become critically ill or disabled, and the other one is not able to function. Had it been that though, you would have taken the time to be educated about what is happening in terms of the business, in terms of the bills, then you would be able to pretty much hold the fort, because when it comes on to finances and financial planning in general, it is something that you have to educate yourself. So it's something, it's a learning process. Do not shy away from it because I'm not good at money management. I put my hands up in the air and shy away. No. It is something that you should have those open discussion as couples. So not necessarily one person should manage it in its entirety. You know, it's something that both parties should be aware of. And so when it comes down to the decision making, you're able to make it together. And that's mine.
and for businesses, what's the approach?
Pretty much it's the same with the business. So it is very important to be able to understand certain aspect of the business.
That's that's
Now, when we look at retirement planning, estate management, that sort of thing, you will find that from time to time, say it's a sole proprietor and um, the main person passes away. Generally, they generally close out the business. From time to time, you may find a partner who wants to continue this business, right? And so, if it is that this partner is not necessarily educated or know how to manage that business, they themselves can put themselves in further problems, you know what I mean?
yes,
So it's very important that you do have an idea of what is happening. You may not be able to manage the books well, but literally try to learn about the different aspect that it entails.
that's true. I totally agree with you that
Yes.
make sure that you educate yourself. Have at
And
least a small
a basic
portion of knowledge
understanding.
as to what's
Yes.
going on. And I think that Jamaicans often, in our culture, um, in our Jamaican culture, people oftentimes said, "Oh, he's the man of the house, so let him lead." In terms of finances, but it has shifted a little bit, but yet still we still find people who tend to stay in the background and just allow the man to do it or allow the woman to do it, and then say, God forbid, divorce come into play, death come into play, unexpected events, they're left, shambling around, like what to do, how to pay this bill, where did he go to pay, or where did she do, so it's important, as you said, for us to have an idea as to what's going on in with our
And
finances.
though I might just add that Joe, you spoke of leadership. It does not take away your leadership ability or make one more dominant than the other.
That's
I mean, to
true.
me, when you're able to join forces and have that cohesive connection in terms of that open discussion, I think it makes your partnership, your union much more
Stronger.
stronger, in my view, because at least that if something should happen, my wife knows exactly what's happening. If something should happen, my husband knows exactly what's happened. And even though we're talking about partnership, we want to also be mindful that you want to get your children involved as well, because once it is that you're able to teach them from early the importance of financial planning and that sort of thing, you are actually giving them the tools that when they become adults themselves, they are better able to function. So these are things that
That's
we need to actually, be more mindful of within the home. Educate your children. I,
that's
I, I
true.
can share a short story quickly. I remember my daughter when she was in school, generally in and around her, when, you go pick them up and so forth, having conversations on the phone. I wasn't even keen into realizing that she was listening. And so I had a business client that I had to meet for lunch. And I said to him, listen, I just picked up my daughter. Is it okay for me to take her along? That conversation around that table having lunch went straight to my daughter. And I can tell you that client was so impressed that the client was just, she told him everything, like literally. And I was like, we ought to be mindful that everything we do, we're actually teaching our children. So why not teach them
That's
things
true.
like financial planning? Why not get them into the conversation as well? You see what I'm saying? So it's very important that as a family unit, as partners, in husband and wife, partners, we get that conversation going and not thinking that we're taking away a particular role from another person. You're
Yeah,
not doing that.
that's true. That's true. So it's supposed to start from a tender age.
Yes.
Diana said, I agree with you. I agree with that. I've seen firsthand how the lack of information and preparation can become very challenging.
Yes.
So, so yes. Um, I want you, since you said financial planning, at what age do you think that we need to start preparing for our retirement? Because we're not always going to be young and fit. But at what age do you think that we need to start planning?
When I sit in the room with a client, pretty much your retirement plan starts the moment you start earning. Because the younger you start putting something away and start planning towards that, it means that your disposable income will be greater
That's
at the
true.
end. You know what I mean?
That's
And
true.
for some persons, they can decipher whether or not they're going to retire at a particular age or another. A lot of persons from time to time would want to retire, but because they started
Yes.
the retirement planning process later on in their years,
True.
they realize that they have to postpone retirement. And so I believe it's very important to start that process now. The
Yeah, and
earlier,
since
the
you
better.
touch on age as well, um, explain to us like life insurance, whole life insurance, term and everything, and if it's cheaper to have life insurance or whatever policy at a younger age versus when you get older, is it more expensive or is it the same cost?
Right. Pretty much life insurance is sold based on age. sold based on mortality and also sex. So pretty much what we do encourage persons to do is to get life insurance as early as possible, as young as possible, because and as well, in this time you find that persons are young but not healthy. So the younger you are, the healthier you are, is the cheaper your insurance will be. You're able to get um, a larger coverage for a small premium. And when we say premium, we're talking about the cost, how much it's going to cost you to purchase this insurance. The older you are, it costs you more for the insurance, plus you're able to buy less insurance for a greater cost, right? Now, I personally prefer to encourage persons, especially younger persons, to do some life insurance that carries some level of equity to it. So you can always draw from that in terms of the investments. You can utilize the policy if it is you're going to be doing a mortgage, doing a loan, and the cash value becomes very, 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 very important at that point. So can you imagine being 18, having one of these equity-based policy, and you don't touch that investment,
It's a
and
lot.
winding up to retirement, you pretty much have something to buffer your pension if you're getting pension. You see what I'm
Yes,
saying? So
that's so
a
true.
lot of times persons have great goals down the line, right? And it's their insurance that will help them along the way. So persons will be able to start out early, and maybe you need some monies to help with that down payment. You're
That's
able to pull on the equity from the insurance. So insurance of itself is not just for death. And that's what we find, especially within the Jamaican culture, is that once you talk insurance, everybody dead already. All of
yes.
them think that it's for death, and that is just not true. And that's why
What other
education is
insurance are
very,
there?
very important. So
Since you
when we
touch on that,
talk
what other
about
insurances are there?
insurance, it's very broad. We're looking at whether it be health insurance, disability slash critical illness insurance. And we say critical illness for some persons who are not so sure what that um, takes care of. It's a living benefit plan. So in the event you were to be diagnosed with kidney failure, like you're actually able to, depending on the critical illness plan that you purchase, because there are different types. So different policy will have a certain amount of critical illnesses that it covers. So you'll find that cancer, which is prevalent, may be one of those
Yes,
critical illnesses that is covered. Simple thing like even blindness, loss of speech, those things are critical illnesses. Heart attack, right?
yes,
Major burn, those things. You have on another policy may have things like dementia, Alzheimer's, things to that nature. So what we recommend when I'm having the discussion with clients, I try to ask the question, what are some of the illnesses that tend to happen within your family? Because
wow,
many
good
times we don't
question.
understand that these things are genetic. So you've heard, oh, auntie so and so died from a
Mm-hmm,
stroke, and
mm-hmm.
you may hear, oh, my father died and he had prostate cancer, or his father
Diabetes.
had it.
Yes,
So having a critical illness plan or a disability plan in place is not to say you're going to suffer from one of these things, is to put the plan in place just in case you need it.
that's
Because
right.
many times it's when someone is sick that they are asking, can I get some insurance for this? Can I get some insurance for that? You want to ensure you cover yourself before, right? So that's one aspect of insurance. But we do have accidental plans as well that will take care of things like a loss of a limb, um, hospitalization too, because it has a, we call it now, an accident and dismemberment aspect to it. Insurance covers terminal illness as well. So you may have a plan in force, and after maybe, in some cases, some of the plans we have, after 2 years of having the plan in force, you become terminally ill. You're able to claim 50%, or depending on the type of plan, a portion of that while you're living. Because a lot of times persons think about death. So they
True.
plan everything around death.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't
That's
die,
true.
they become sick. And so all the other bills you have, they have to be paid. So when you have a critical illness plan in force, you do get cash in hand. We don't ask what you do with those monies, but those monies can offset the light bill. It can help with the children. You can actually start a little business with it as well and turn that money.
That's true.
You're gonna have medical expenses, right? Even though you may have health insurance, you will have to pay a portion, say
Or pay
20%. You
part of
may
it.
not have
Yes.
that 20%. A lot of times we find business people have asset rich. I call them asset rich. So they have a lot of assets,
Yes.
but they're cash poor. So if
That's
something
true.
should happen, say for instance, death should take place, then their family member is left without any cash. So they may have to liquidate
That's
one of
right.
their prime
That's
assets
right.
in order to cover all of those expenses.
That's right.
I think you had asked the question about wills and um, power of attorney and all these things.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if it is that you would have gone ahead to, you know, have a will draft up and all that, when you pass, it has to be probated, and that is how the executor comes in play. Now, at that point, if you have outstanding taxes, if you owe a debt out there that needs to be cleared, things to that nature, they're going to need cash to help to offset some of those things. You can actually put insurance in place, because that we do insurance for estate planning
Mm,
to manage the estate,
interesting.
right? So you don't have your family member don't have to sell one of those prime properties to offset those expenses. We have also, you did ask about a power of attorney. The power of
Yes.
attorney is that agent, that person who is serving on your behalf, right? Who gives the power to act on your behalf while you're living. So if you need to do certain businesses, transaction, you may be abroad and you need to have something done here in Jamaica, but you can't be here physically, then you can provide give someone a power of attorney. That person can act on your behalf legally. But once it is that you pass, the power of attorney is no longer right enforceable. It's no longer useful. And so that's where an executor comes in place once it is that you have the will to be probated.
Um, People might ask this question that maybe it doesn't apply to them because they're not rich in terms of estate planning. But what would you consider, who do you consider should start doing estate planning, and what does estate planning involve?
All right, so let's start from not rich.
Yes.
To leave a legacy, or to leave what we call the word that I'm looking for not coming to me now. But basically, you know, a lot of us would look and say, if our parents were educated enough, then they would put certain things in place so that they could leave what generational wealth,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so, in terms of passing something onto your children, so that they themselves can put things in place and continue to grow your generation, right? I recommend that everybody can afford insurance. To me, everybody can afford
I
insurance.
think
It
so
just
too.
depends. It goes back to the mindset, and it goes back to you budgeting, right? Buy what you can afford. And as time goes by, you can always increase that. So once you have an insurance, once you own property, once you own anything, you pretty much have that opportunity to start your estate planning, because you're literally putting in place how is it that you're going to preserve the assets that you have. How would you want those to be managed? How do you
Mhm.
want those to be distributed? And all of that entails estate planning, right? how is it that you're going to minimize the taxes? Because as you know, Uncle Sam, anywhere you are living,
Yes.
they need the taxes must be paid. And
Yes,
so
they
when you
do.
put in place proper estate management, there are few little things that can be done to minimize that tax, right? In the US, you do have what is called gift tax. They do give you a ceiling as to how much per year you can
Yes,
actually pass on to your loved one without being
that's
taxed,
right.
right? And so that is what estate planning entails. And so you'd need a proper financial advisor to sit with you and go through that with you to ensure that we preserve your estate as best as possible, right? Even with creating trust and those things, all of those comes under estate planning. Now, that too helps with your financial obligations that you may have. It really helps with
Yes.
that.
Earlier you mentioned whole life versus term life. Can you just go back and recap? What are the
Okay,
differences?
so I always use this little scenario to actually bring it closer to home in terms of
Yes.
explanation. So in terms of let's look at you living in a home, in a house.
Yes.
Now, for some persons they own the house, and for some persons they rent the house or lease the house.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, they live under a roof and they have a house that they live in. It's the same thing when it comes on to whole life and term for life or that those type of insurance. So whole life is you owning that insurance in terms of the coverage, right?
Okay.
In terms of the term for life, it's you're actually insured for a particular time set.
Time
Now,
period.
time period, yes. So you can say term for 5 years, term for 30 years, term for 50 years. But whilst you have that insurance, though, a few things can happen. You can actually convert a portion or all of it out to whole life in terms of you owning it in its totality. In terms of the term for life, as you get older, so in terms of the conversions, first and foremost, converting the term for life will cost you more than when you outright buy your whole life. Say you buy the insurance at age 20, you're paying the premium unless it is that they are inflation linked and other little things, then the insurance coverage can go up as well as the premium. As for term for life, as you get older and you decide to convert to whole life, it's going to cost you at the age at which you convert. So
Oh,
let me use some figures now. You may purchase $10 million coverage for $5,000 whole life. You may purchase the same $10 million in term life, and that will cost you 2,500. Notice the difference.
yes.
The similarity here would be it's the same coverage, which is $10 million, but the cost for it is different. You say, but hold on, term for life is very cheap, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. So when you decide to convert at age 25, you realize that they're going to charge you at age 25.
That's
So
right.
your premium is going to go up far
Higher.
greater. So it's best that if it is that you can afford whole life, you purchase as much as you can then. But as for the term for life, it is you're insured still, but it's for a certain period. Some persons will use it for mortgage purpose, and so it is quite affordable for them to utilize it because okay, I'm doing a mortgage for 15 years. At 15 years, I can decide to return a premium, depends on how it was set up because you can get back those monies. Or I may decide to keep the insurance. Your insurance company will not ask you to prove insurability. So if it is that you become sick at that time and you're not healthy, you won't lose the insurance as long as you convert it.
Oh,
So
wow.
both of them do
Interesting.
serve their purpose, depending on what it is that and why it is that you decide to go that route.
Interesting.
Okay.
I heard of a case some time ago, and this young lady, in fact, she passed away by cancer some time ago, and her
Hmm.
husband, about 3 months before she passed away, he was looking to take out a life insurance on her. Would that time be too late for him to get a life insurance for his
All
wife?
right. So we do have policies that are non-medical. And so persons who have certain illnesses, as long as they are within the age group, because we do provide non-medical plan up to age 75.
Oh,
So
nice.
6 months
What
before you
does that
become
include?
76, you can
Non-medical.
purchase. Yes, it doesn't matter what illness you have, cancer,
Okay.
HIV, anything you have, as long as you're not 76, you can purchase.
Okay.
Now, what those insurance, one of the first thing it covers is it covers you completely for accidental coverage. So if you purchase the plan and you die days after, day after, whatever, it will pay out the full sum insured. For
Oh,
natural
interesting.
death, though, it has a waiting period.
Oh,
So
I
for
didn't know that.
natural death, if you have the plan in force for 12 months or more, then they will pay 50% of the sum insured. Anything after 24 months, they will pay out the full sum insured, regardless of how you died, whether it be accident, natural, or otherwise. Well, is there otherwise? Yes. They will pay out the insurance. So within the 3 months period, if the wife died via natural cause, then
Yes.
they will only get return of premium. They'll get back the monies that they pay. But
Oh,
say that partner died via accidental means, it doesn't have to be a car accident, then
okay.
they would have actually honored the full sum insured, providing again, I'm just speaking from the Sagicor standpoint, depending on what the policy contract stipulates,
Oh,
right? And so when it
okay.
is that you decide on, to engage a financial advisor, ensure it's somebody trusted, ensure that you're able to read the document, have a full understanding. Sometimes you don't remember some of the things, but your advisor should be available to answer the questions that you may have, any concerns that you may have.
That is interesting.
Yeah,
And I do have another question. Oftentimes,
sure.
for those who planning to move back, say to Jamaica or wherever, their home country, what financial steps should they take in order to facilitate that smooth transition?
All right. So, again, I would encourage them to speak with an advisor because you definitely have to tailor stuff based on different people's, goals and what it is that they're looking for their household. In terms of from an insurance perspective, it would be good for them to try to ensure that they do have insurance coverage in the country that they are going to live or to migrate back to. So if
Yes.
it is Jamaica, it's important that you have that discussion. We do have the retired, it's called CCRP. I'm sorry, and that's for the community of community CCRP. Forgive me, but
That's
we
okay.
do have different groups that that we tend to tailor products for. So if you're
Okay.
returning residents, we do have products and services that are geared towards you. If it is that you live overseas and you have loved ones here that you feel like if something should happen to them, it's going to cost you financially,
That's
I
right.
recommend you insuring that risk. COVID COVID showed us what can happen. I meet a lot of clients in Jamaica or prospects, I should say, engage in so many conversations. And what I find is that I don't know if it's a cultural thing or what, but many times when persons have loved ones abroad, they are looking solely for you guys
That's right.
to bury them, to take care
That's
of them in case something should happen.
that's right.
Now, it is very important that you try to engage your family members as best as possible. Ensure that everyone has some level of insurance, right? At least that's one aspect of their financial, you know, side of
Totally
financial
agree.
goals that is taken care of. So
Totally agree. Totally
these are
agree.
things that I find very, very, very common. And so when COVID came, a lot of persons were impacted, and you realize how important it is to ensure that everybody have something
Some
in
form of
place.
insurance.
Yes.
That is that is actually well, it's a very, very important topic, and sometimes family members living overseas are faced with the burden of burying or taking out their savings here to really cover
Traveling, the traveling
expenses.
too.
Yes, and 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 sometimes it's even out of our retirement as well too.
Exactly.
So as Chioma,
T. T and over.
always pronouncing your name incorrectly, but
That's
forgive
fine.
me. As she mentioned before, if you're on this live and you do have family members living back home, go ahead and contact her so that she can help you to put these plans and these insurance into place. So we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. I just want to say that if you're looking for somewhere to relax and with great privacy, peace of mind, look no further. Make sure to check out Swaby's Hope Hideaway. It is around 22 miles, 22 minutes outside of Mandeville, and also 1 hour and 27 minutes the max to get there. So if you're looking for great privacy, relaxation, look no further. Make sure to check them out on Instagram, Facebook. That's Swaby's Hope Hideaway. Make sure to check them out, okay? And let's get back into, there was a question here from Miss Megan. She had a question. She said, as for power of attorney, there are some adult children who has to step in when a mother or father has Alzheimer's disease or any other medical conditions. I found out that if a parent has two children, they can do a dual power of attorney. So that means that both children can't do anything without each other's approval. Don't know if this is the case in Jamaica. Is this the case in
Okay.
Jamaica?
Um, I I'm not sure because I've not had any situation like that. What I've encountered is in terms of creating like a trustee, especially in insurance. Let me use insurance.
Yes.
You are able to do dual. You can put more than one person as a trustee. So, say you're doing a policy and you have minor children, or it can be even adults, but who has some level of disability, and so you want to know if something should happen to you, those funds are managed well. You definitely can do dual trustees. As for the dual power of attorney, I would have to do some further checks where that is concerned. I can't confirm.
How about writing a will? Would you
Um,
advise that writing a will can 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 be of great importance for when that time comes, everything is written down as to who needs to be the executor or who needs to get what, just directions, because oftentimes it happened in Jamaica so many times, not only in Jamaica, But it happens everywhere where, say, for example, I might pass away and I do have children and they're fighting over who gets what or whatever, maybe for the fact that there was no will in place.
Okay, so for those persons who decide that, because you do have persons who pretty much give their children what they need to get while living, right? Outside of that, creating a will or a trust is very, very important because when you're dead, you're dead. I'm sorry to say that so frankly, but what I've realized is that many times parents, people will think that, okay, if something should happen to me, my loved one will do this, will do X or Y. And best believe I've seen when things change, especially when funds come into play, people tend to operate outside of what
Differently.
person
Mm-hmm.
expected of them to do. And so it's very important that you put things, I think you should tend to put your financial portfolio, put your finances, put your things in place while you are living. Don't wait until something happens. What you can do is to amend as time goes by. So for instance, if it is that you were to have put a particular person as a trustee, and as time goes by, you may notice, a bit of change, or you notice how they operate and it's not in line with what you would like. You are able to change them. If this is the same thing, if you wrote a will and you want to make amendments so that you are able to do that. But ensure that you have something in writing, right? A will can be what you call it now. When it goes into court, people can actually try to. Is it a test? No, that's not the word. You can actually, they
Probate,
can actually try to, pardon me?
probate, or
Pardon me?
is it
No,
probate the
not
word? Is
probate.
it probate?
People can
Probate.
people can actually challenge a will.
Oh,
But if it is that you want to mitigate against things like that, you can actually have a doctor involved when you are actually signing the will as a one of when you created that mind. And it's always good to have a good attorney to help you with the process as well. And so, as a financial advisor, one of the things that I do, I tend to have um, quite a bit of professionals in different areas, so that if I do have a client that needs um,
services.
need certain services, then I'm able to make some recommendations, and make this process seamless for them.
Oh, that's great. So where can people find you, or where can they reach out to you for all these services that you spoke about? If they need to maybe tie up their finances, or maybe they need to start planning or estate planning, maybe writing a will, or whatever, or do retirement. Where can they find you to get all this process, or maybe to ensure their family members, to make sure that the burden is not placed on one person? Where can they find
Well,
you for all these
I
services?
as I said earlier, I work for Sagicor Jamaica. My office is in Mandeville. I pretty much work island wide. So for clients who I need to see, I may go to see them, or they may decide to come into the office to see me. And so pretty much they can reach me via Chioma underscore Dinnall hyphen Forbes at sagicor.com. My telephone number, which is my personal number, I'm going to give you all here, is 876 820.
Let me type that in the, can somebody type that in the comment
Let
while
me see if I
she's,
can type it from here
yes,
to
you can
make it a little
type it
easier.
in the comment for individuals who need all these services. You can go ahead and
Uh,
reach out,
I
and
will
definitely you
actually.
will be in good hands. You can see that she's an expert,
You can
and
actually Google me as well. Once you put my name into Google, you'll actually see me pop up with Sagicor. Also, if you were to call the Sagicor line, my extension is 6627.
in the meantime, between time, I want to talk about my barware. This is my eight-piece
I can
stainless
see it.
steel, eight-piece stainless steel barware. So it comes with everything. Even if you're not a drinker, it's okay. There are other portions of the set that you can use individually. So it has the shaker, it has the opener, it has the jugger, which is double-sided. It comes with the strainer. It also has a built-in strainer as well. And it has the
Okay.
wine opener, and the base is stainless steel. So the entire set
Mm.
is stainless steel. And nowadays it's so hard to find products that, especially with the barwares, they are stainless steel base, because nowadays most of them are like bamboo. And sometimes when water catch it, it tend to just fall apart. So if you're looking for sturdy, go ahead. It's on Amazon. That's Ionia 8-piece stainless steel barware set. So it's YONI 8-piece stainless steel barware. So go ahead, check it out on Amazon. It's available on Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you are, it is available there. And remember, if you keep showing up week after week and keep sharing, you might be a lucky winner of my set one week. So
Okay.
thank you for that. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us?
Um, what I would like to leave with my
Yes,
audience today,
yes.
right? Um, is it's never too late to start your financial goals and financial planning. Start today. Just start with simply creating a budget. Budget Budgeting is very important, right? Because it helps you to see where your money is going, right? And it helps you to be able to be more intentional in terms
Yes,
of the goals that you are working towards. So if it is that you find yourself being one of those persons who can't come off Shein
mm.
or even Amazon,
Say it loud. Say
you
it loud.
definitely can do it with a mindset shift. Because if it is when you look to see the goals you're trying to work towards, you're not seeing where you're
That's
getting there.
true.
You literally can actually see through your budget where your money is going. And so you can make a conscious effort to change it and to actually get back on track. It's
That's
never
really
too late.
powerful.
And once it is that you're honest with yourself, because a lot of times persons are not honest with where they are,
That's true.
but it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to get to that place, because I
That's
can
true.
promise you, when you are actually able to consciously admit to yourself that, you know what, I'm not in a good place financially, you will be more conscious to make better choices and to get yourself on track. It's never too late. Take it from me,
That's
it's
true.
never too late.
That's
I
true.
remember one year I literally decided that I needed to sow something because I need to reap. That was my little thought going into the new year. And I went to my little garden and I started to plant. And best believe in 1 month I was able to reap. And I was able to even actually give away. It's
What?
the same mindset shift that I made consciously, that I wanted to save a particular figure. And when it happened, I didn't even realize. So I am only saying that to say it's never too late to achieve that goal, but you have to actually change your mindset and be intentional about where you want to be. Because where you're at now does not necessarily determine that's where you're going to be
Word,
done. Don't
word,
determine your future. It doesn't determine. When I was when I was
word,
in the market at a tender age, I'm telling you, many children, many people my age, even older than me, maybe looked at me and like, what? But I knew then, from then, that that would not be where I am going to stay. It was just my training ground.
word,
And
word.
I accepted my training ground. And I am now being very grateful for those humble beginnings, because it has helped me to grow. And it can do the same for you. Where you're at financially now can be the place that you can grow from. And that's my little encouraging words to you. I must say,
Thank you.
Fiona, thank you so much for having
You're
me.
most welcome.
I really, really appreciate your program, and I know you're doing wonders for a lot of people
Oh,
in
thank
your
you.
small community. That's pretty much going to be a big community in such a short time because I know
Yes,
that.
it
All
is.
right.
It is.
So thank you
It
so much
is.
for having me. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Shioma, thank you so much.
Yes.
I appreciate you for taking the time out to educate us, to inspire us, and also to motivate us. And this is what this community is about, encouraging each other, whether it's
Yes.
your health, whether it's your finances,
Yes.
whatever it is, we're going to motivate you and push you forward for you to do better because we're
Yes.
going to hold each other accountable in whatever way
Comfortable.
that is. And remember, spend what you have and do not spend what you don't have. Just remember that at all times. So
Yes.
don't get carried away when you see nice things in the stores. Just walk and say, do I really need that? And you just walk away, make conscious decisions,
Yes.
and be financial independent.
Yes.
So until next time, thank you all for joining me on Motivational Monday, and I look forward in seeing you next week Monday with another guest with another intriguing story. So this week was all about educating and it was more informative, but come next week we're going to hear a very inspiring story. So until then, see you and bye for now. Thank
Bye.
you.